This is one of my favorite games of all time. I absolutely love this game. I like the sequels that came after it, although they're not as good as the first one. This is an absolute classic of video games, in my opinion. Max Payne, the first game in the Max Payne trilogy. Although I kind of like to see more, though I think it's kind of almost done, I guess. And it's developed by Remedy Entertainment, published by Rockstar Games. And I think Sam Lake wrote the script for this game. And the game, in case you don't know about it, the game was released in 2001 on the PS2, Xbox, and PC. I think there's other consoles. They did do some other ports to older consoles, like newer consoles and all that crap. But those are ones I think it was released on when it came out in 2001. And if you want to talk about why this game is about, like, a detective named Max Payne who lost his family, his wife and young infant daughter, my god, to these junkies who are high on this drug called Valkyr, a drug that just causes people to go insane. And he tries, and of course, like, he leaves he transfers from the NYPD to the DEA, and once he gets a break in the Valkyr case, he goes out to get justice for his family. Along the way, his partner gets murdered, and now he's on the run from the cops. He still tries to get justice for his family. This game is an absolute classic. It is dated, don't get me wrong, but I still love it because that didn't matter to me. The game is so well done. This is really a cinematic experience that you can interact with. For real, you can play through it and have fun with it. One of the things about this game, and I don't know if it is I don't think it's the first game to have it, but it was probably one of, if not, and maybe it is the first game to ever have bullet time. This thing came out 2 years after The Matrix, and yeah, it was pretty cool. It's great. It has some cool slow motion effects, but also it has some cool slow motion effects. The controls are solid for the most. The controls are pretty solid. It has some good shooting controls, but also the slow motion does work well. It is a bit slow, but it still works well. And I do like, this thing you call, like, shoot dodging. You can shoot, like, you can like dive, like left, right, up and down, like forward, backward. And it works well for the most part if you have to get away from some people. It can help you avoid some bullets, but you can still get hit. And actually, Max can get hurt, and he can he can help himself by using painkillers. He can only carry like 8 at a time. There's also like a lot of enemies he can kill, and there's like a lot of crazy guys. There's a lot of crazy dudes he has to kill, and there's some people that he has to really kill. Like, he has to kill a lot of tactical teams. Sometimes kills basic criminals, and he has to deal with some bosses at times. And holy shit, are some of these guys hard as fuck. I mean, really, it's hard not to get. It's just hard for me to say anything crazy with this game. It's just not. This game is truly cinematic. It is, like, the one thing I can say that's kind of weird about this game is, like, how the characters die, their facial animations. They're very stiff, but I got past that. Like, one thing I love about it is the game feels very cinematic. Like, there's a lot of things. Like, there's some cool, like, cinematic, like, shots. They look very well done, especially sometimes during these dream sequences. I'll get to that later. But the game feels really good. I mean, like, the bullet time is immersive, so is the slow motion, and overall the world that Max Payne is set in is very immersive. You get into it, but also has a great atmosphere. There are times where it just feels really tense. The soundtrack works well. There's a sense of, like, I almost like have like a sense of paranoia, because there's gonna be a guy who can just come out and shoot me. And it's like, these guys don't always have the aim of stormtroopers. They can hit you pretty good. Holy shit. And yeah, using painkillers. Don't use too many painkillers. To be honest, I make sure, like, if you were, like, shot pretty bad, I probably only use at least 2, because you can get rid of, you probably have, like, you can have slightly more than half of your health left. It's really, sometimes it just gets pretty hard at some points, especially during some of the boss battles, and like later when you have to deal with tactical enemies. Not like, like a SWAT team or anything like that. Hell no. just when you have to deal with a lot more harder enemies, ones that have a lot more heavy-duty weapons, it just gets really hard. But also the game feels so cinematic. There's always like these weird like dream sequences, like whenever like he's drugged or something like that, or whenever he's asleep, he has these nightmares involving his family being murdered. It's just really disturbing. It just works so well. It just creates, it has like elements not only of like action and thriller, but more of like psychological horror. It's just disturbing. It really immerses you in it. And especially when you hear like these, like sometimes when you hear these voices, it's just not it's just really unsettling. Hear like these voices of like his family dying, like family, almost like they're in like his wife just dying. It's just really disturbing. I mean, opening the game with the event that made Max who he is and kind of like inspired, and of course what made him do what he did in the game, works well because it helps you establish the main character perfectly, and it helps set up the story. It makes for something interesting. It's not only an interesting setup, but it really helps the story offering up a very a dark, haunting, emotional opening. It just really unsettled me because it's just, oh my god, the way it was done. Not only in terms of like you know the lighting in the game, but also it's really, really hard. It works so well. I mean, it's just really immersive and haunting. The soundtrack also is one of my favorite parts too, because it's just so fitting to the atmosphere and really helps with the tension, but also adds to the psychological, adds sometimes to like the horror of Max and his unfortunate in this memory that has haunted him and has left him wanting closure. It just works perfectly. But also, especially the fact it's dealing with some hard enemies. But another thing that actually is interesting is that, well, I like Max is a really interesting hero. He's a guy that does a lot of killing, but he's killing people that are a threat to him, like they're enemies, they're not cops. Like he still has morals, even though has damage and he's under like he's traumatized from the unfortunate destruction, from the unfortunate event that left him who he is. There's great villains in this movie. There's some great characters, some bizarre characters. There's also like a lot of Norse mythology, symbolism, and references. It works so well because it just creates this very disturbing, haunting atmosphere. It creates something very unique and original, nothing that you really see before. And also another thing I do like is that overall it's a game that has an immersive atmosphere. Also, James McCaffrey is great as Max. Now he doesn't do any sort of motion capture or anything like that, or like he doesn't do any of the body work for Max. It's another actor. I forgot who it was. Comment below if you know. But he does the voice and he does narrate, and he also does narration in the game. It kind of helps sometimes if you're stuck somewhere in a game, but overall it works very, very well. I was impressed with them. I was very impressed, I have to say. The game is fun. Sometimes it is pretty hard. The shooting mechanics are good for the most part, and it has some good weapons. Sometimes it's pretty hard at times. I mean, what else do you need me to say? There are times I'm almost kind of scared in certain areas because sometimes like they're so confined, or just enemies that just pop out all over the place. I just feel scared as hell. I have to give major credit to Sam Lake and like overall the entire team who put this together. Sam Lake I think wrote the script. I don't know if he directed the game, but I have to give major credit to everyone involved because they create something incredible. They create something that's very cinematic, full of fantastic, great characters, such as unique personalities. And there's just so much. It just has it's a neo-noir game. It has a great neo-noir feel to it. It's just so fitting. It works perfectly. There's also a character called Mona Sachs, who's the sister to Lisa Punchinello, like one of the crime families that Max is after. I forgot who it was. The Punchinello crime family. Punchinello crime family. Why did Don Punchinello, I think it is. Yeah. Like the leader. And there's some very surprising twists and turns, and I have to say, it worked so well. There's some it has fantastic storytelling. It's actually the way the cutscenes are sometimes done. There are some normal cinematic style cutscenes that progress like a movie, I guess you say would. But also it has a great cast. Like it has a great way, like it has these graphic novel like images it gives it this unique way. But also, there's a lot of poetic dialogue and writing. There's like a lot of unique, surprisingly very poetic dialogue that Max states. So do some characters, especially some of the more insane characters like Jack Lapino. You find out who it is. Well, you find out who it is later in the game. But he's such a disturbing. It's just disturbing as hell. It's just unsettling. Like, he just says these crazy stuff. He's like just demonic, like speech, demonic, like dialogue. Some of the stuff he's saying just is satanic. It's undeniably unsettling. This game has a very bizarre atmosphere. It has a sense of claustrophobia. It's just disturbing. It has all these. It's so poetic. I just love stuff like this. I really do. There's nothing else for me to say other than the fact that this is absolutely a game that I love. And there are times where I had such a major. Whenever I would get it, like, you know, rent it, I would play from beginning to end. I love this game so much. The graphics are dated, yes, and sometimes it is pretty hard, but the game is so much fun. It has a great voice cast, especially James McCaffrey's Max. Perfect. Great characters, great villains, great story. It is absolutely cinematic, and it's just absolutely excellent game making. I wish games are like this. I mean, sure, there's some games that do feel cinematic, but some feel just aren't. Sometimes more in terms of production values, not really story. Some of them just try to be more over the top and big, but some of them just don't have much subtlety to them, or sometimes don't really say much of a story to it. I really am impressed to say that this is absolutely a great game. I love playing it. I like the sequels. This is one of my favorite games of all time. I love it. It is a classic. I wish this game was bigger. I wish this game was bigger. It is still a pretty good game. It's one of my favorite Rockstar games of all time. It is my favorite in the entire series so far. I love this game. I love it. Haunting at times, cinematic, poetic. It's perfect. It's a great combination. I have nothing else to say. Max Payne gets a 5 out of 5. This is one of my favorite games of all time. I love it. It's just perfect for me. Okay, sure, it's gotten dated, but for me, I think it's excellent. I love it so much. Anyways, guys, my review for Max Payne. Comment below what you think of Max Payne if you ever played it. Which one do you think, what's your favorite in the entire series? You guys know mine already, the first one. But one of my favorite things about it, what's your favorite Rockstar game of all time? I think mine might be GTA 5. Although whose isn't? Maybe it's GTA San Andreas, huh? It's my second. Wait, is it? Yeah, third is Max Payne. Comment below and subscribe to my channel for more videos.